Hey everyone, welcome to part 3 in the single needle machine embroidery for beginners series. This video is on how to do a tension test. Here's everything you're going to need. You're going to need your flash drive with the tension test already on it. If you didn't buy my guide where you got the tension test for free, then the tension test is available for purchase in the description below. You're also going to need your cutaway stabilizer, your temporary adhesive, 40 weight top thread, which is your embroidery thread, 75/11 needle, your 4x4 brother hoop. This is the brush that came with the machine in like a small white pouch. You'll need this as well. Your disc shaped screwdriver. It also came with the machine. Scissors. And your white pre-wound bobbins. Now the first disclaimer that I want to add is that if you have a sewing and embroidery machine like I do, then your bobbin weight should be 60. If you have an embroidery only machine, then your bobbin weight is 90. Please ensure that you're using the correct bobbin weight for your machine. The second disclaimer that I want to add is you don't need to adjust your tension if you're not having issues. And I feel like, this should go without saying. I'm also not someone who will tell you not to adjust your tension, but I am someone who would tell you that embroidery problems and their solutions are not one size fits all. The issues you have, or if any, could be linked to, you inserted the bobbin incorrectly, you threaded the machine incorrectly. It could be you're using the wrong, bobbin weight. So this is why before we even go into the tension test, we're actually going to change a few things on the machine that we can control before we actually do the tension test. So let's go. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is remove the gray cover and then remove and replace the bobbin with a new one. I do want to point out that if you're doing the tension test because you were having issues, the best thing would be to put this one to the side for now and try it with a new one. Next, I'm going to remove and clean the bobbin case. Now, we won't be adjusting the bobbin tension in this video, but you cannot adjust the bobbin tension on cases that have the green dot that you see here. At least you should not. I'm just going to grab the brush and clean anywhere that I see lint or glitter. For some reason, the camera didn't pick it up, but it was there. Next, let's clean the bobbin area with the same brush. Now, I cleaned my machine recently because I was stitching a lot of glitter designs back to back, but regular cleaning is advised depending on how often you use it so that there isn't an excessive buildup of lint, thread, or even glitter. For my beginners, this won't apply to you yet, but it's important to know for the future. Once everything is cleaned, I'm just going to put the bobbin case back in, make sure it's in there fully, and then place the gray cover back on. Now it's time to insert the new bobbin, and you need to ensure that it's being pulled counterclockwise, essentially in a reverse 9 where the tail is on the left. If you ever forget, you can always look at the engraving on the plastic cover. Next, let's change and replace the needle with a new one. I'm just going to grab my disc-shaped screwdriver and turn it to the left to loosen. I'm going to remove it and replace it with a new 75/11 needle. Now, when inserting the needle into the machine, remember the flat side should be facing the machine and the round side should be facing you. Next, let's thread our machine using the 40 weight top thread. Now, once my thread is through the hook on the thread stand, I will thread the machine like I normally would. Ensure the presser foot is up when threading the machine and that you follow the guidelines printed on the machine to assist you. Now, once the machine is threaded, we can turn on the machine and start preparing our fabric to stitch the test. I'll be using 2 pieces of Cutaway stabilizer and sports twill from Joann's. A lot of persons have different opinions on how much stabilizer to use, but when it comes to my single needle brother machine, I always double up and ensure I'm using temporary adhesive. Next, let's find our design and then set our tension. So right here, I'm just going to be selecting my 4x4 hoop and then trying to find the tension test. Now on my machine, I can adjust my tension at the design level by hitting the scissors icon here. It comes preset to 4, so that's where we will start. Essentially, after one color or eye is finished stitching, we will write it beside the eye and then go back in to reduce our tension each time. Now, I don't normally go lower than a 2, so I'm going to stop the test right here and take the hoop off the machine. This is how the test looks so far. And I 100% know I'm using the right tools and everything was inserted correctly. But this is how the 4 stitched, the 3.4, the 3, the 2.4, and then the 2. Now on the back side, this is how it looks. So essentially the tension test should have 1/3 black, 1/3 white, 1/3 black. But I've realized that with these brother machines, that's not always the case. So I often tend to just go with the best tension that doesn't give me any white on top, no needle breakage, no nesting or anything like that. I don't like how the 4 stitched, right? So you can see that right here. I don't even really like the 3.4. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, 3 is what I always set my tension to when I'm stitching a design. And it's the tension that I use on every single one of my designs you see on TikTok, Instagram, or even YouTube and on my Etsy store. It's with me stitching at a 3, because if you watch my previous video, you would have heard me say that I had stitched at a 4 and I had 2 issues that just made me realize, nah, it was a tension issue. Ever since then, I've been stitching on a 3 and I haven't needed to adjust my tension ever since. So this is how it looks on the front. And then this is how it looks on the back, right? So this is normally what I would go with. Like I said, 1/3 black, 1/3 white, and 1/3 black is normally what the test should look like. But I've just realized that, look, if I'm not having any issues at all, no nesting, no white showing on top, no thread breakage, no needle breakage, then I'm just going to stitch at a 3. Okay, so hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Just remember that there's only so much you can do on your end. If you did every single thing in the video, you know, cleaned your bobbin area, you changed the bobbin, you replaced your needle, you made sure it was inserted correctly, you rethreaded the machine, and you made sure, you know, you were hitting all the corners that you need to, and you're using the correct thread weight. And if you did all of that, right, prior to doing the tension test, and then you go ahead now, you hoop your fabric and you do the tension test and you're still having issues, then the last resort would be the bobbin tension. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I've never had to touch my bobbin tension. Once I got the machine and I realized there was an issue and I did my tension test, I realized that 3 works perfectly fine for me. And ever since then, I've been stitching at a 3. I haven't needed to touch my bobbin tension. If it comes to a point where you have to resort to adjusting your bobbin tension, you know, right to tighten, left to loosen, and it works, great. But if you recall my previous video where I was mentioning that my student, that's what we resorted to, it fixed the issue only for a little while, and then he had to take the machine in to get looked at. So don't be afraid to make these changes on your machine. And if it all comes down where you've done everything you possibly can, take the machine in to get looked at, because you could be good, we could be good, right? But we're not mechanics. So please remember that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, definitely make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share, and see you in the next video.